everyone, and welcome back to Physio Media, where we talk about all things physiotherapy related. My name is Surabhi, and I'm a registered physiotherapist. In our last video, I spoke about why those Zoom calls can give you a pain in the neck, quite literally, and what you can do about it. In today's video, I'll be demonstrating exercises that you can use to help relieve that pain. These exercises will help with things like neck pain and back pain, as well as conditions like carpal tunnel syndrome and tennis elbow. For more information about this, please go to my previous video, which talks more about the 20-20-20 rule, posture, and workstation. The link should be somewhere on the top right corner, somewhere here. To understand why we do these exercises, we need to understand the difference between stretching and strengthening, the effects they both have on the body, and why we would choose to do one over the other. So stretching actually helps to elongate a tight or a shortened muscle, while strengthening helps to make a weak muscle strong. Keep in mind that every time you contract a muscle, you're actually shortening it. So if you like to strength train aggressively and frequently, make sure you stretch afterwards to help balance all the shortening of the muscles that you've just caused. Stretching and strengthening regularly keeps our muscles and joints in optimal condition. Depending on where the problems arise and what they're caused by, we make the decision between doing stretching or strengthening exercises. Before we begin, as always, I need to add a disclaimer. I'll be starting with the stretching exercises. So when it comes to stretching, frequency and consistency are key. If you only do the exercises once every couple days when you feel like it, you won't be really making much of a difference at all. You want to be holding the stretch 10 to 30 seconds, repeating 3 to 5 times, and you want to be doing this throughout the day as frequently as you can. Let's begin with the demonstration. I'll be starting with the neck exercises. So technically, this exercise is used to help improve neck movement. However, at the end of movement, especially if you're using pressure with your hands, you should feel a stretch in some of the muscles depending on which direction you're moving in. To go through these exercises again, forward movement is called flexion. Backwards movement is called extension. Bending to the left and the right, these are called side flexions. And turning to the left and the right, these are called rotations. You want to be doing these 6 movements frequently throughout the day, especially if you work at a computer or a desk, or if you've had whiplash. Speaking of whiplash, let me know in the comments below if you want me to make a video about it. I've worked closely with people who've had car accidents, and I've seen how debilitating the injuries can be if not addressed quickly and correctly. This next exercise talks into what I spoke about earlier, using your hands for overpressure. This exercise is used to help stretch the scalene muscles, which are along the sides of your neck. As I mentioned before, you want to hold the stretch for 10 to 30 seconds, repeating 3 to 5 times. You grasp the side of your head and pull to the left or the right, using your hands to do all the work while keeping the neck muscles relaxed. This exercise is used to help stretch the levator scapulae muscle. This muscle lies between the neck and upper back into the shoulder blade area. This exercise is similar to the one we did just before this. You want to bend your head diagonally forward, so if I want to stretch the muscles on the left, I'll be bending diagonally towards the right and add a little bit of rotation at the end of your movement. You might need to play around with the position a little bit since everyone's body is a little bit different. You should feel that stretch from the neck going into the upper back shoulder blade area. This stretch is helpful if you suffer from neck or upper back pain. In some cases, it can also be used to relieve tension headaches. This next exercise is used to help stretch the chest or the pectoral muscles. To do this exercise, you find a door frame. If you want to stretch the right side, you're going to lift the right arm and block it against the door frame, bending the elbow to 90 degrees and raising the arm or the shoulder to 90 degrees. Step forward with the right leg, turning your body away from your arm, and you should feel a stretch over the pectoral or chest muscles. To intensify the stretch, you're going to lift the arm up even further so that the elbow is no longer bent, and step forward again, turning the body further away from the arm. The second position should cause the stretch to intensify, and you should feel the stretch over a larger area. This next stretch isn't so much for stretching out tight muscles as it is for pain relief. This exercise is used to stretch the rhomboid muscles, which are in the upper and mid-back area between the shoulder blades. To do this stretch, you slouch, and this is pretty much the only time when slouching is acceptable. Cross your arms at about shoulder level, elbows pointing forward, and you're going to add a rotation to the left and the right. As I turn to the left, I feel a stretch on the right side, and as I turn to the right, I feel the stretch on the left side. Make sure you're only rotating in your upper body and not your lower spine. For you older folk, I call this my I Dream of Jeannie pose. Can you tell why? This stretch is for the latissimus dorsi muscles, as well as muscles in the outer shoulder blade area and on the sides of your body. To do this exercise, you'll start by putting your arm over your head, grasp the elbow with the opposite hand, and then bend your body sideways. So to stretch the left side, I bend to the right, and if I were stretching my right side, I would do the same thing to the left. You should feel a pretty good stretch along the sides of your body and along the sides of the shoulder blade. We now move on to exercises for the hands and the wrists. So if you do a lot of this or a lot of this, that's right. If you do a lot of typing or mouse work, you're prone to developing problems like tennis elbow and carpal tunnel syndrome. Doing these exercises regularly gives the muscles and tendons a break, also helps them stretch out. Doing these exercises regularly also helps to prevent the onset of carpal tunnel syndrome and tennis elbow. Let's begin with the demonstration. To stretch the muscles of the forearms, you start by having the elbow locked straight. To stretch this surface, you bend the wrist and use the opposite hand to bend your hand down towards you. Make sure that you're holding above the level of the knuckles, because if you hold below, you're going to end up bending your fingers, which really won't be stretching these muscles very much. Now, to intensify this stretch, you can do so by turning your arm slightly outwards. It's not a big movement and might feel a little bit weird, but you will find that the intensity of the stretch increases significantly by turning the arm out. You'll see that the surface of the elbow, the flat surface of the elbow, will turn outwards. The same position is used to help stretch the opposite side of the forearm. So if we stretch the lower surface, we start again with the elbow extended as far as we can. This time the hand faces upwards instead of downwards. And again, you use the opposite hand to grasp the hand and pull backwards towards you. Again, holding above the level, well, in this case, it's below the level of the knuckles. Make sure you're closer to the palm than the fingers. And stretch, and you should feel the stretch along this surface. Now again, to increase the intensity of this stretch, You can do so by turning outwards, and you should increase the intensity of the stretch that you feel along this surface. And that wraps up today's video on stretches for the neck, back, and wrists. If you have any questions or have any conditions that you'd like to discuss, please email us at the email address provided below. As always, if you learned something new, please give us a thumbs up. Please share this video with your family and friends. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to make sure you don't miss any future videos. Keep learning and may you feel better than ever. Until next time, this is Surabhi saying, Das Vidanya.